Hey guys, what's going on? Mighty Leafy here. Welcome back to another Monster Super League video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the newest Astromon, Harlequin, which will be available to players in the next upcoming Nat4 Rebirth festival. Hope I'm not wrong. I wonder if it's going to be the next one or the one after the next. Alright, so first let's take a look at the Fire Element Evo 3. She is a tank. I guess you'll be using her mostly in PvP defense. Now for her skill, she has an 80% chance to turn Thirst on her passive skill, which is not very ideal. I mean, ideally you want an SP Siphon on this, but 80% to turn Thirst, single target, not really ideal. Alright, so for her active skill, she has a 60% chance to inflict attack down for 2 turns. That's really not too good. So first off, attack down's not very desirable skill for a defense mod, and then you have the less than stellar 60%, so that's not, yeah, I mean, it's a no. It's not great. Now if her skills were switched around, if she had the attack down on her single target and then she had the 80% chance to do the 2-turn thirst, to every single enemy, then that might be kinda good. Like an AoE thirst debuff is quite good. So using her for defense mon, and since you're only limited to 5 slots for that, you want a different Astromon to take her place. Unless you're mid game, then maybe. So let's talk about her variant lead skill though. Her variant lead is Death Blow, grants 40 to 45% extra damage on critical hits for the team. Okay, so while Death Blow is quite a good variant leader skill, it doesn't really suit her in this case because she's a PvP defense mon and you typically run Death Blow on PvP attack teams. Well, I mean, I guess it could be run in just about any attacking scenarios, but definitely not on a PvP defense team because you sort of want like a defensive variant skill for that kind of thing. So maybe like a defense up or HP up. But maybe it suits her other elements, who knows. Alright, so moving on. Alright, so next up we have the Water Harlequin. Water Harlequin is a balanced mon. For her passive skill, she has Courageous Strike, and then for her active skill, she has Attack Down 80%. Both skills are crit reliant, so if you pull for this mon, you will need a square gem slot ideally, unless you have some next level gems with amazing crit subs. So I think a Evo 3 Water Harlequin is about similar to a Evo 2 Water Balrona. Now Water Balrona can be a little bit tricky to get. She is a festival exclusive, so might take you a while to get her sometimes. Adding on to that, the variant leader skill for Harlequin is Death Blow, so that's quite good for a Titan team setup. So she's gonna add more damage to your Water Titan team. And the fact that her Courageous Strike is on the passive skill is actually quite good because the Fire Titan likes to use Thirst. So like you get the Thirst on you, you're just gonna hit him for more Courageous Strike. I mean, it's crit reliant, but if you gem her for crit reliancy, she'll also do the attack down on her active. And since you're only gonna be fighting Titans, Titans can't wear trinkets, so you don't need to worry about the crit resistance. I think Water Element Harlequin is actually quite nice for those of you who don't have an abundance of Evo 3 Water Balronas. Now Evo 3 Water Balrona is gonna be better on every level, but until you do have a bunch of those, which can be hard to get, this is a good filler mon until you do get that. So maybe consider this one. Right, so next up we have the Wood Element Harlequin. She's a balanced mon. For passive skill, she has SP Siphon, so that's already better than the Fire Element with her 80% 2-turn Thirst. But the problem is, if you're gonna be a SP Siphon mon in an era of Fire Drakka meta, it's not really gonna work out. Cause okay, so first off, this mon you're most likely gonna be using for your PvP defense. But then the enemy's gonna run Fire Drakka, and then you're Wood Element, so you're not gonna target the Fire Drakka with your SP Siphon. On top of that, the Fire Drakka is just gonna focus this guy and get a lot of SP charge because they might be on a Siphon set or something. I don't know. So the right skill, but on the wrong element, I feel like. Anyways, the active skill is a 80% chance to petrify all the targets, I guess. Which kind of reminds me of Water Persephone, but Water Persephone has the healing and she has the right element going for her. I feel like you'll be using this mon for PvP defense like I said before, but also just the wrong element for a PvP defense team. I feel like if you're a PvP defense mon nowadays and you're wood element, maybe you need some sort of like defense up type skills or like fearless taunt or maybe just a shield up or something. Maybe if she had a really good active skill and you hide her on special seasons, then she would be kind of usable. But as it stands, she's not gonna SP siphon the Fire Drekka, and the Fire Drekka is just gonna farm SP off her and also kill her really fast. So probably not a good pick here. Again, Death Blow doesn't really work on her because she is a PvP defense mon, I feel like. Alright, so moving on. Right, so the light element is a defender. She has about 3200 defense, which is pretty standard. I think it's about the same as the light Vic. I guess she's kind of like a light Miho, but not as good as a light Miho. I don't know. We'll take a look at it. So for a passive skill, she has damage reduction, reduces damage received by 50% for 1 turn, and then she has Fearless Taunt on her active skill. So it's actually not that bad, but I don't know. Now if it was double Fearless Taunt, that would be really amazing, but I guess that would be too good. So the problem with this is that if I'm fighting against her, let's say she's on the enemy team, she hits me, she gets a damage reduction. I know her defense is gonna be off the charts. I'm not gonna attack her. I'm just gonna save her till last, when all her teammates are dead. So by the time she builds a SP bar to do the Fearless Taunt, it might be too late. So I feel like Fearless Taunt might be better on the passive skill if it was to just be on one skill. Obviously it would be better if it's just on both skills altogether, but damage reduction on the passive skill, like I said, it just makes me not want to attack her. So it deters me from attacking her. So I feel like that sort of makes her as a bad tank. I should say also that if you get this Astromon, you'll probably be using her on your PvP defense. Man, imagine if her skills were switched around. Like if she had Fearless Taunt on her passive, so then she can lure you in to attack her with her increased defense. And then the damage reduction is on her active, which then gives her entire team the damage reduction buff. That would be too good to be true. And I guess it is too good to be true because it's not what she has. So there we go. Right, so moving on, we're at the Dark Element, the last one. Right, so the Dark Element Harlequin is going to be an attacker, and you're going to be using her for PvP attack or CVC. Now her base attack is 3200, which is moderate for a Dark Attacker mon, but then her passive skill is a damage boosting skill. In this case it's Elemental Edge, but it is crit based, which I guess it's okay for Dark Mons. You typically do want to be gemming them for maximum crit anyways, but what's not okay is that there are crit resist trinkets in the play these days, so being a crit reliant PvP mon is not really ideal. Luckily her active is not crit reliant, but then I feel like as a Dark Attacker you probably don't have time to sit around and wait to get your active up with the SP bar type thing. So yeah, I don't know. I guess her skill sets would have been pretty good before the existence of like crit resistant trinkets and whatnot. But nowadays it's kind of like a dice roll, you know, like you never know. It's super RNG. You're either gonna do maximized everything or you're gonna do nothing. But the good news is, since she is a Dark Attacker, her Death Blow variant lead is gonna work pretty nicely in a Dark Attacker PvP attacking team comp. I wouldn't recommend getting the variant lead on her Dark Element though, just because aesthetically speaking, her non-variant looks so much better. But I don't know, that's really up to you guys. It's very highly subjective. Anyways, that's going to be my review for the Harlequins of the Elements. Make sure to check out my Discord server if you enjoy Monster Super League related stuff, because my Monster Super League channel is kind of getting very quiet and I am feeling kind of sad. I wish it blossomed a little bit more, you know? People in my Discord server, they love talking about Dragania Lost and all the other games that I don't play, but I have channels for whatever reason, but they just don't want to chat about Monster Super League, the one game that I do play. So yeah, I'm feeling kind of left out. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching and sticking around with the video. Until next time, I will catch you on the flip side.